Hey everyone, Assalamualaikum and hello. Welcome to our video presentation. We are from Group 2 and today we will be presenting our study title, which is Role of Monetary Policy in Achieving Malaysia Madani Goals. Before we started, I will introduce my groupmate, which is Muhammad Shafkur, Nur Afrina, Adam Emil Fakri and Muhammad Husairi. Before we start, I will give an early preframe for our presentation outline. The topic will start with Chapter 1, which is Introduction. Chapter 2 is Monetary Policy Framework in Malaysia. Chapter 3, Malaysia Madani Framework. Chapter 4, Overview of Monetary Policy in Malaysia under the Malaysia Madani Era. Chapter 5, Role of Monetary Policy in Achieving Malaysia Madani. Chapter 6, Current Issue or Challenges and Policy and also Recommendations. Chapter 7, Conclusion, Reference, and Appendix. Chapter 1 is Introduction and the Background. Malaysia as a small open economy. Malaysia is known as a small open economy, which means our country is closely connected to the global economy through trade, foreign investment, and financial market. Malaysia depends a lot on export such as electronic, palm oil, and energy product. Because of this, when something happens in other countries, it can quickly affect Malaysia's economy as well. Second is exposure to global shock and inflation. Due to this strong global connection, Malaysia is more exposed to global economic shock. For example, events like the global financial crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, geopolitical conflict, and change in oil price and disrupt supply chain, increase the production costs and cause the price to rise. As a result, this global shock often create inflation, which affect the cost of living, people purchasing power, and overall economic stability in Malaysia. Third is Introduction to Malaysia Madani. To address this challenge, the government introduced the Malaysia Madani Framework. Malaysia Madani focus on sustainable economic growth, resilience, and social fairness and the good governance. Under this framework, maintaining price stability and economic stability is very important so that economic growth can benefit everyone, not just certain group. The fourth one is important of monetary policy. This is where monetary policy becomes very important. Monetary policy, which is carried out by a Bank Negara Malaysia, helps to control inflation, stabilize the financial system, and support long-term economic growth. By using tools such as interest rate change and money policy control, monetary helps Malaysia manage both domestic issue and global economic challenge more effectively. Objective and literary gap. So the main objective of this study is to examine the relationship between the global shock, inflations, and the monetary policy in Malaysia, especially within the Malaysia Madani framework. While many previous studies look at inflations and monetary policy separately, there is still a research gap in understanding how global shock interact with monetary policy and how they influence inflations in Malaysia as a whole. Therefore, this study aims to fill the gap by providing a more comprehensive analysis. With that, I have come to the end of the introductions and the background of our studies. Next, my group member will continue with the methodology and analysis.
Assalamualaikum. So I will explain the mandate and role of Bank Negara or BNM, Bank Negara Malaysia or BNM. Bank Negara Malaysia is Malaysia's central bank established under the Central Bank Act 2009. So its primary mandate is to promote monetary and financial stability in order to support sustainable economic growth in Malaysia. BNM formulates monetary policy through the Monetary Policy Committee, also known as the MPC. The main tool used by the MPC is the OPR. So by adjusting the OPR, Bank Negara Malaysia influences interest rates in the economy, which in turn affect borrowing, spending, and investment. In addition to OPR, BNM also use other policy tools. One of them is Statutory Reserve Requirement or SRR, which controls the amount of money banks must keep as reserve. And another tool is Open Market Operations or OMO, which helps manage liquidity in the banking system. So, in summary, Bank Negara Malaysia plays a crucial role in ensuring price stability, managing liquidity, and maintaining confidence in Malaysia's financial system. All right. Next, factors in policy decisions and monetary policy transmission. When making policy decision, BNM closely monitors several domestic economic indicators. These include inflation trends, economic growth, and labor market condition, as this reflect the overall health of the Malaysian economy. In addition to domestic factors, BNM also considers external factors such as global interest rates, movement in commodity prices, and international capital flows. These factors can influence exchange rate, inflation, and financial stability in Malaysia. Another important consideration is financial stability risk. This includes monitoring household and corporate debt levels, as excessive debt could pose risk to the financial system and the broader economy. So moving on to the monetary policy transmission mechanism, monetary policy affects the economy through several channels. The most important channel is the interest rate channel, where changes in the OPR influence borrowing and lending rates. Monetary policy also works through the credit channel, affecting banks' willingness and ability to lend, and the exchange rate channel, where interest rate changes influence the value of the ringgit. Okay, in short, monetary policy decisions are based on a combination of domestic and external condition, and their impact is transmitted through multiple channels in the economy. Okay, next I will explain to you on an overview of Malaysia Madani. Malaysia Madani is a values-based national governance framework introduced by the Unity government. The main objective is to guide Malaysia's economy and social development towards a society that is civil, inclusive, and sustainable. The framework emphasizes a balance between economic growth, social justice, and ethical governance. It is built on six core values represented by the acronym MADANI. The first one is kemampanan or sustainability, which focuses on long-term economic and environmental resilience. The second one is kesejahteraan or prosperity, which aims to improve the overall well-being and quality of life of Malaysian people. The third is daya cipta or innovation, which encourages creativity, productivity, and technological advancement. The fourth one is hormat or respect, which promotes mutual respect, good governance, and the rule of law. The fifth one is keyakinan or trust, which emphasizes transparency, accountability, and public confidence in institutions. And the last or final value is ihsan or compassion, which highlights empathy, inclusiveness, and social protection, especially for vulnerable groups. In terms of implication for economic and monetary policy, Malaysia Madani provide a guiding framework that ensures policies are not only growth oriented but also fair, sustainable, and people centered. Overall, Malaysia Madani serves as a holistic approach to nation building by aligning economic policy, with strong social and ethical values. Okay, recent economic condition in Malaysia. Okay, following the COVID-19 pandemic, Malaysia's economy has shown a steady recovery. Actually, this recovery has been mainly driven by strong domestic demand and investment as the economic activities resume across various sectors. As a result, GDP growth strengthened, reflecting improved business and consumer confidence. At the same time, inflation's moderated to around 1 to 2%, which help ease cost of living pressures faced by households. This indicates that price pressures remain manageable despite the economic recovery. And labor market also condition also have also improved significantly. Higher employment levels and lower unemployment rates suggest that the recovery has been broad-based and inclusive, supporting household income and consumption. Moving on to the recent monetary policy decision by BNM. During the pandemic, BNM reduced the OPR sharply to support economic activity and cushion the impact of the crisis. As the economy began to recover, the OPR was gradually normalized by 2023 and 2024. The OPR was maintained at 3%. This cautious and measured approach aimed to balance support for economic growth while ensuring price stability. So overall, Malaysia's recent economic performance reflects a careful policy balance between sustaining recovery and maintaining macroeconomic stability. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shah. So I will continue to present. We're looking at alignment with Madani economic priorities. First, stable inflation help protect household purchasing power, supporting sejahtera or well-being. Second, predictable monetary conditions encourage long-term investment and planning, which supports mampan or sustainability. In addition, transparent communication by Bank Negara Malaysia through monetary policy statements and reports strengthen public confidence in economic management. These directly support keyakinan or trust, which is a core pillar of Malaysia Madani. A clear example of this alignment is Bank Negara Malaysia's decision to maintain the OPR at 3% during 2023 and 2024. This decision helped support the post-pandemic economic recovery while inflation remained moderate. For households, a stable interest rate reduced uncertainty and made debt servicing more manageable. For SMEs, it allowed better financial planning and investment decisions. By sustaining domestic demand without triggering high inflation, this policy reflects a people-centered and cautious approach, consistent with Madani values, sejahtera, ihsan, and mampan. So we go to chapter 5, which is role of monetary policy in achieving Malaysia Madani. First, we'll look into mampan or sustainability is supported through price and financial stability by keeping inflation low and the financial system stable. Monetary policy creates a strong foundation for long-term economic growth. Second, sejahtera, which is focused on well-being, is reflected through economic growth and employment supportive monetary conditions help business expand and create jobs, improving household income and living standard. Third, daya cipta or innovations is encouraged through a stable investment climate, predictable interest rate, and stable financial condition. Allow firms to plan long-term investments and adopt new technologies. Next, Hormat and Ihsan are reflected a gradual people-centered policy approach. Bank Negara Malaysia adjusts interest rates cautiously to avoid sudden shocks to households and SMEs. Finally, keyakinan or trust is strengthened through transparency and credibility. Clear communication and consistent policy decision help build public and investors' confidence in monetary policy. So overall, we found from these findings of our papers, monetary policy supports Malaysia Madani by maintaining price and financial stability, which strengthen sustainability, growth, and public trust. Stable and predictable monetary condition also indirectly encourage investment, innovation, and people-centered policy adjustment. However, monetary policy alone cannot address social and distributional issues and therefore must work together with fiscal and structural policy to achieve the full Madani goals. So next, we look into our key issue and challenges for Madani. Despite positive recovery, Malaysia faces domestic vulnerabilities. One of the major issues is external shock and uncertainty. Malaysia's open economy is highly exposed to global economic slowdowns, geopolitical tensions, and volatile capital flows. These external risks complicate Bank Negara Malaysia's task of balancing growth and price stability. Second, we look into high household debt, especially linked to housing loans. Even small increases and interest rate can significantly affect household consumptions and financial stability. Additionally, property market imbalance remain a concern. Fiscal constraints and subsidy reforms limit government support. These vulnerabilities make monetary policy decisions more complex under the Madani framework. So the next two key challenges and issue I will pass to my colleague, which is Encik Khuzairi. You may proceed. Thank you.
Right, Assalamualaikum and everyone. So today I'll be continuing Mr. Adam points, and for chapter 6, in this I'll be discuss the key issues and challenges related to monetary policy in Malaysia. The first challenge is policy transmission lags, where monetary policy does not have an immediate effect on the economy. Changes in the overnight policy rate or OPR usually take a long and variable time to influence inflation and economic growth. In many cases, the full impact is only felt after several quarters. This makes it difficult for policymakers to respond accurately to current economic conditions as the effects are delayed. And the second challenge is about mandate limitations. Basically, Bank Negara Malaysia's main mandate focus on monetary and financially stability rather than income, distribution or social welfare. As a result, issues such as income inequality and rising cost of living cannot be fully addressed through monetary policy alone. These problems require support from fiscal policies and structural reforms beyond the role of the central bank. Alright, next I will explain the policy recommendations. Firstly, I will talk about the stronger coordination with fiscal policy. Monetary policy should be closely coordinated with fiscal measures, and why is it so is actually to ensure consistent support for economic growth and price stability. Basically, when Bank Negara Malaysia works together with the government fiscal policy, maybe I can give examples such as subsidies and targeted spending. It actually helps reduce policy conflicts and improve overall economic effectiveness. And this coordination is also important to protect vulnerable groups during the periods of economic adjustment, especially when interest rates change. And second, clear Madani-based communication. When Bank Negara Malaysia should clearly communicate how its monetary policy decisions align with Madani values, such as sustainability, well-being, and compassion. By linking this policy action to these values, the public can better understand the purpose, what behind monetary decisions. Clear communications also help build public trust and confidence in monetary policy, which is actually crucial for long-term economic stability. As in conclusion, stronger fiscal coordination and clear Madani-based communication can enhance the effectiveness of monetary policy and support inclusive economic growth. Alright, for next slide, I still continue with the policy recommendation. First, about the improving financial literacy. So, enhancing financial literacy actually helps household and business better understand about the interest rate change and borrowing risk. When the public has a clearer understanding of how monetary policy works, it actually reduces misinterpretation and overreaction to policy decision. So basically, it's actually avoid the public confusions. This also strengthens economic resilience as individuals and firms are better prepared to manage financial risks. Next, promoting green and inclusive finance. Bank Negara Malaysia can encourage financial institutions to support green projects, and also they can provide better access to finance for underserved communities. How this will approach not only supports sustainable economic growth but also ensures that financial development is more inclusive. Overall, this aligns financial policies with Madani values such as sustainability and compassion. So that will conclude the policy recommendations. So for this last slide, how I will conclude our presentations. Monetary policy plays an important role in supporting the Madani goals of sustainable, inclusive and balanced economic growth. And in this, through effective monetary policy, price stability can be maintained, which is essential in protecting purchasing power and ensuring long-term economic confidence. Not only that, stability is the foundation for inclusive growth when inflation is well managed and financial conditions remain stable. Household and business are able to plan better, invest with confidence, and participate more actively in the economy. This will directly support social well-being and economic resilience. However, monetary policy alone is not sufficient. It requires strong coordination to achieve optimal outcomes. Effective coordination ensures that economic growth is inclusive and that vulnerable groups are actually not left behind during periods of adjustment. In this context, Bank Negara Malaysia actually plays a crucial supporting role. As the central bank, BNM ensures monetary and financial stability while they aligning its policies with national development priorities and Madani values. Before we end this, basically I and a group members and I would like to express our sincere appreciation to Dr. Hanani for her guidance, support and valuable insight throughout this course. We would also like to thank you to all my group members, Mr. Adam, and Mrs. Fina, also Mr. Shah, for their strong cooperations and commitment, also the teamwork in completing this presentation. With that, this concludes our presentation. Thank you for your attention.